Hi. So, I just read the No Zombies Allowed article. It's a pretty interesting piece. There were a few quotes that definitely stood out to me and opened my eyes on a lot of things that I already felt that media was doing, and it made me realize that there's a few issues with media. Um, but media is also useful. This being said, my first quote is, "What many of us do when we turn on the TV is turn off our brains. We don't really think much about what it is we're watching and why. But I want you guys to start thinking. I want you guys to be smarter than your TVs." I agree with this. I chose this quote specifically because this is what I do. It is a part of why I don't watch TV that much. I don't watch the news really because I can't shut my brain off when I watch the news. It makes my brain spin and go from this thought to this thought to that thought. But I like to just turn my brain off when I watch TV. Except for on Sunday nights, I do watch my show, Once Upon a Time, best show ever. That being said, we don't usually analyze what we are watching. Let's take the news for instance. We believe everything we hear. But in reality, it is what the producer wants us to believe. Let's also look at the Brady Bunch. It tells us how a family should be. I don't know about others, but there have been shows that I have watched that make me judge my life or my relationship because of what a lot of shows call normal. We should always analyze what we are watching. Producers always have a purpose rather than showing reality. Even reality TV shows do this. This also brings me to my next quote. Marcy Reyes, Quincy's new principal, had been impressed with the kids' work and how well they use the medium of video to communicate. I agree with this. Even though technology frustrates me, it is very, very useful. It was also seen on my No Day Without Technology. This being said, I'm talking more about Skype or FaceTime. I Skype my mom at least once a week. We even have a show we used to watch every Monday. We would Skype each other and watch until it was over. I'll give technology where credit is due. Communication through video chats like Skype help me keep my sanity while I'm away from my mother. I'm very close to my mom and it keeps me close to her. This being said, videos are very useful, like on YouTube, but you need to be careful with those videos. Everyone has their biases, and they don't necessarily match up with reality. Always be careful watching anything. This also brings me to my next quote that Mr. Mitchie said. All right, let's say you're from another planet. I told the kids, you don't know anything about what humans are like, what teenagers are like, and you land your spaceship at the Jerry Springer show. If that's all the evidence you have to go on, what are you teenagers like? Wow, that's a great way to put things in perspective. I agree with this completely. This has a lot to do with stereotypes. TV in general wants us to believe what they want us to believe. They want to get as many viewers as possible. They want to make that money. They do this by creating good TV. But is it reality? Just like the news, do you think we get the truth or just one quote producers thought would reel people in? This is the same with all TV shows. They want to grab as many viewers as they can from the beginning. This is a great place for stereotypes to start, just like one of the children said when he answered this question that Mr. Mitchie proposed. He said, this is all just stereotypes of what teenagers are. And that's exactly what a lot of TV shows and a lot of things that we watch, and we need, like I said previously, we need to be careful. Now, I go to my last quote that I thought was very accurate. I apologize, it is a pretty long quote, and I tied in 2 different quotes in this. An important consideration in any media literacy course, I came to realize, is using programs the kids watch as text for study. This might be soap operas, pro wrestling, music videos, commercials, cartoons, whatever students at a given age are spending their time viewing. Trying to indoctrinate them with quality television isn't the point. Better to teach them to become more discriminating themselves, to be able to see through the glitz and pseudo style of a program to what lies underneath. I also want to tie this with another quote. As the semester went on, we talked quite a bit more about representation on television, how some groups of people are overrepresented, while others hardly show up at all. We also examine how minorities are shown many times in stereotypical roles or situations. I agree with this, and part of it makes me sad. How much we have been socialized to these stereotypes. I hope all of us can see this clearly after reading and understanding that we do play into it, even if we don't realize. Trust me, I play into it. Some of the shows that I've watched, I can clearly see where these minority groups were placed in those stereotypical roles. I can see where, even mentioned in the reading or the article, I can see where it gives the stereotype that the woman is the stay-at-home wife. She cleans, she cooks. I see it very clearly, and these help socialize us into these stereotypes. This being said, I think it is very important for us to analyze any kind of media and see what lies underneath, instead of taking it for what it is being shown to us as. We need to stop falling into this trap and being socialized to believe these stereotypes. It's the saying of one bad apple spoiled the whole bunch and created this stereotype, and social media has taken control. And at least this is what I believe. Other people obviously can believe what they want. But that being said, I just see how social media, Facebook, television, YouTube, any of these things have socialized us to thinking that this is really what's going on. Now, I do have a couple of questions that, my bad. I do have a couple of questions that I thought about while watching this. Are people who get involved with media going into it knowing this and are okay with it, or promoting it? Or do they get into it to try and change it? If they do try to change it, why do we continue to see the same representations or stereotypes? I have one more question. This being said, is it just with media, or do you believe it's with things we read as well? Also, how did all of this get started? Why do we enjoy continually making these stereotypes? Now, I have a few examples that touch base on a lot of the things that I talked about, stereotypes and biases and whatnot. One really good example that was clearly seen this past Monday, I went to the presidential debate that they had on campus. Sorry, my phone's about to die. They had on campus, and before the presidential debate started, these media analysts came up to speak to us and inform us about these biases, and that we all go in with who we want to vote for. And the whole purpose of these debates is to sway us, is to make people who, like myself, went in not knowing who I was going to vote for. Because I have my biases against both Trump and both Clinton. But that being said, it was clear to see when I watched that presidential debate which way they're going to try to sway our vote. It was very clear to see, at least for me. I don't know if anybody else analyzed it the way I did. I was doing it for extra credit. But I did see that we were being swayed that Hillary is the right vote because Trump couldn't answer any of the questions, and he kept looking bad. He just kept looking very racist. He was having racial profiling done during his speeches that he was giving during the debate, and it was all pointing to the way that it was swaying my vote to vote for Hillary. But I analyzed that debate, and I recognized it, that I'm still on the fence. I don't know who to vote for. I don't want to go based on what a debate tells me to vote for. I want to go based on my analysis of both of these candidates. That being said, I have one more example that I've seen for 15 years. I've seen since I was 15, and it saddened me just last night when I read an article. But I've worked at a vet since I was 15. And I've seen several clients stereotype and say how pit bulls are aggressive. But the thing is, they haven't owned a pit bull. They're only going based off of media saying how aggressive these pit bulls are, or these other breeds that are aggressive. That being said, that's just like saying that African Americans are, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a stereotype, I guess. I guess they're in gangs. They're more violent. That's the same concept. Like, that's stereotyping this breed, saying that they're bad. They're all aggressive. The thing is, not all African Americans are all aggressive. Not all pit bulls are all aggressive. And not all Asians are really good at math. Not all of these different stereotypes that we've grown up with and we've seen represented in media. We've seen on social media. We've seen, even, like I said, even in the presidential debate. That being said, what I saw the other day, I read this article, and hopefully I don't cry, but they literally passed in Canada that if there's a pit bull, it will automatically be euthanized. It will automatically be put down just because of the breed that it is. And it's all because of one person's experience with a pit bull, because of what, let's say Michael Vick, for instance, what he did with those pit bulls, the dog fighting. They're used in dog fighting because of how strong they are, not because of how aggressive they are. You can train any dog to be aggressive. My dog's even aggressive. He can be. Like, you mess with him the wrong way, he will attack you. But my dog get euthanized because he's aggressive, but yet these breeds are going to be euthanized no matter what. No matter that they have a perfect record, no biting anyone or anything, they're going to be euthanized for it. And this is a great way that I have seen social media play a role in these breeds, saying how pit bulls are aggressive. Not all pit bulls are aggressive. A few bad apples have spoiled the whole bunch. But if you really want to know the most aggressive breed, or the most bites from an aggressive breed was actually I'm pretty sure it was ruled as a dachshund, which they can be. But just like every breed, every person can be aggressive, can fit those stereotypes, but not all of them. And unfortunately, it's seen clearly how social media has played and socialized us to believing these stereotypes. And I hate to say that I fall into it. I do. And I'm sure we all do. And it's time that we analyze what we're watching, what we're hearing, what we're just doing on a daily basis, instead of falling into these traps. Thank you for your time. I really enjoyed reading this article. It opened my eyes, and it clarified some things that I've always thought that media has done. Thank you.